Welcome back, folks, to Jamin's Daily. We have a very special episode for you today. We're here with Coach Keno Aleman, and we're going to give you a very special insider access to the SEC preview college football predictions. So let's start it off. Coach, we got to we're going to start off with who we think is going to win the West, who we think is going to win the East, who are the runner-ups going to be, dark horses, and then get into some individual teams and some comments on that. So let's start off. What do you think? The winner of the East is going to be Georgia. Dun, dun, dun. The Bulldogs, who have won the East, what, three years in a row, probably now?
Yeah, something like that.
3 years in a row, surely have to be overwhelming favorites again. And you like Georgia because?
They're Georgia. They've been picked even to win the national title.
So not just the SEC West, but they can win the whole thing. They have a really good quarterback who's the Heisman Trophy favorite right now, Carson Beck. They've lost a lot of their receiving core, but what do they say about these teams that they reload. They don't what is it? They reload. They don't something. All right. This guy, trust me. The second and third string players for Georgia could be starters everywhere else. Okay.
They could.
So, who's going to be the runner-up in the East?
I say Kentucky.
Ooh, good. That's Coach Stoops. He's a good coach. He's got them playing really well. He's got it made. This guy, he would be a fool if he ever left that job because they're happy with him winning 7 or 8 games a year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He never is under any pressure to win a championship.
They started out like 6-0 last year.
They did.
I think so.
Yeah, but then reality comes in real quick when you start playing good teams. But again, that's Mike Stoops, right? Mike Stoops. He can be there, win 7, 8 games a year, and they'll love him for it. He never has to win a championship. But second place, all right, I like it. Now to the West. Who's going to win the West?
The West. Who's in the West? Texas, A&M.
Alabama.
I
LSU.
go with Alabama.
Alabama's going to win the West.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good pick. It's a safe pick. It's a very good pick. They've won it.
Yeah, except they got a new coach.
They got a new coach. But I think they're going to be fired up for the new coach. I really do. I think it's going to be everyone's going to get on board.
He's going to have to win the West for them to be satisfied.
No, the thing about this job, which is insane, folks at home, is that this man, what's his name? DeBoer? Coach DeBoer? Came from Washington. He can win 10 games this year. He can win 10 games next year. And he could maybe even win 10 games the following year. And he could get fired. Okay? All right? He could get fired winning 10 games a year.
Winning 10 games is not going to get to the championship game. Because you play 12 games. 2 of those losses could come in conference. That'll knock them out.
Exactly. So they can go 11-2, win their bowl game. So they go 10-2, don't go to the championship game for the conference championship because they don't make it. But then they go to a bowl, they win it, 11-2. Which for most programs would be awesome. Listen, if A&M won 11 games next year, I would 100%. but he can win. That could happen for him, and we're not even exaggerating. He could get fired. So, but we'll see. We'll see. Who could be runner up then, Dad?
You got Oklahoma, you got Texas.
Texas is the odds on or the trendy pick right now. Everyone's picking Texas over Alabama.
Would be the runner-up.
Texas is going to be runner up. Okay. Okay. Texas doesn't even. I don't think Texas plays Alabama this year. So that's going to be interesting on the tiebreakers and how things work out. I don't. We just looked into, folks at home, we just looked at the schedule. Texas plays 4 teams in the East and 4 teams in the West. But yet A&M plays 5 teams in the West this in their schedule. So I don't know how they're working this schedule, how this is working out. We're going to have to look into it. This is the first year. So if you know, if you're into the schedule and you know what's up, let me know. Like, comment, send me an email, jaminsdaily@gmail.com. Who do you think could be the dark horse, Coach Aleman? Who could be the dark horse for the East and then for the West? You mentioned Kentucky as the runner-up. That's already a dark horse. But besides Kentucky as the runner-up, who do you think in the East could surprise somebody?
In the East, South Carolina.
Yeah, good choice. Beamer ball, Dad. They play Beamer ball. That's right. Frank Beamer's son. What is his name? Do you remember? You know what his first name is? I know his dad's name, Frank Beamer. But his son, Coach Beamer, is the coach at South Carolina. And they had a little run last year. They won about 3 or 4 games in a row. And they were real competitive. And they had, who was that? They had that quarterback who, wasn't he he was the guy who was at Oklahoma. And then that Caleb Williams guy took his job. He was like that. He looks like an albino black guy. Remember, he was super light skinned black.
Yeah, he was from Texas to begin with, in Texas high school.
That
Went to Oklahoma.
What was his name? Did he get drafted?
I don't know. I can't think of his name.
Well, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know what he's talking about.
Okay. Well, folks, I don't Google. Right here, folks, I'm going to put his picture. I'm going to put the photo of him right here in post-production. But South Carolina's the dark horse. You got that, right? South Carolina. And I like that choice for the East. What about the West? You know, actually, I don't like that choice because A&M plays South Carolina every year. They're their East rival. So hopefully, if they're the dark horse, they won't play well that game and we can win. Because we, historically, right, Dad, wouldn't you say, since A&M's been in the league, there was a wall there where we beat South Carolina like 4 years and we were way up on them, and we still are. I want to say we're probably like 6-2 versus South Carolina right now.
Well, the dark horse in the West is going to be LSU.
LSU?
Yeah.
LSU's the dark horse in the West. If LSU can even be considered a dark horse, they were good. They just didn't win the right games. Like you said, you can be a good team and then lose 2 or 3 games to really good teams, and then you're not in it. Right? Am I right? Who's their quarterback? They lost, so they had a Heisman Trophy winner at LSU this year. Who are they going to replace this guy with? Somebody. LSU. The quarterback from LSU was the guy who won the Heisman Trophy. They got to replace him.
I don't know who they got.
They'll find somebody, right?
They'll find somebody.
They'll be all right. Coach Kelly, he knows what's up. He's been around. He's been around the block a couple times.
Yes, he has.
Sure, he can figure it out. Hasn't won a championship yet. That's why he left Notre Dame, folks. And people who are Notre Dame fans don't like to hear that. All right, but he left Notre Dame and went to LSU. Why? Why did he leave Notre Dame to go to LSU, Dad?
Because he could win a national championship.
Exactly, folks. Exactly. So let's move on. Oh, we're gonna take a quick break. We'll be right back. We're back from the break. So we just gave you some insider information on who we think is going to win the East, who we think is going to win the West, who could be the dark horse and surprise some folks. Now we're going to get into Coach Billy Napier, who is the coach for the Florida Gators. And the reason why we bring him up because he is the coach whose seat is the hottest. And so this is a segment I like to call Who Can Make It the Whole Season. Okay, because right now there's about a 50-50 chance that Coach Billy Napier doesn't even finish the season. He's got a pretty tough schedule. He actually has the toughest schedule in the country right now, Dad. Imagine your seat, your job being on the line. It's so hot you can't even sit on it. And you literally have, by every measure, the toughest schedule in college football, Dad.
Yeah, they got to play.
No, in this Phil Steele magazine, they rate this the strength of schedule. Florida has the toughest schedule.
They got Tennessee, Kentucky. They play Georgia. They got to play at Texas, LSU, Mississippi, at Florida State. The final game, they got to play A&M.
That's what I'm saying. And it's the toughest, I want to say, by far. If you look at that schedule, geez, Louise. You look at Florida's schedule compared to Texas' schedule. It's not even fair. All right. So, Coach Billy Napier, in his first 3 or 4 games, he's got Miami, which is not an easy win. He's got A&M, Mississippi at Mississippi State, which is tough to win. You know, all them cowbells.
In between those games, he's got Sanford.
Okay, so that's the one win. They could be 1-3 going into a bye.
Then they got UCF,
which is not an easy win.
They could win that game at home.
They should.
But they got to go to Tennessee. That's a loss.
At Tennessee. Kentucky.
Spoiled their homecoming.
Listen, when they lose that game at Kentucky, that's when he's going to get fired.
Florida.
Oh, that's why he's going to get fired, because it's a homecoming. There was a time wasn't there a time when Florida could look at Kentucky on the schedule when it came to football? When Florida could look at Kentucky on the schedule and just put a W on it?
Yeah.
There was a time when Coach Spurrier was there, he could just put a W on that game.
Georgia at home, at Texas, LSU at home, Mississippi at home, at Florida State. They're going to lose 1, 2, probably 4 games
out of those 5, and that doesn't even count. That's not even counting the earlier games too. That schedule is ridiculous. It's not even, they got to play, because the thing is, they got to play Miami. They always play Miami, and they always play Florida State, which are always hard non-conference games.
Yeah.
Then on top of that, they got to play their regular conference games. And I mean, even if they were really good, which they're not, they can't, it'd be difficult to make it through that.
But it's not where you start, it's where you fit.
All right. Well, hey, we're going to run. I hope you enjoyed our... Dad, we didn't even talk about Coach Heupel. You turned on the TV. We have to talk about Coach Heupel, the Tennessee head coach. We're going to do over and under whether or not he's going to be 300 pounds for the whole season. I feel like...
So you're saying at the start of the season, he's going to be over 300?
I'm saying he's already 300, and I'm hoping he loses some weight. Is he going to be any skinnier by the end of the season?
No, I think he'll be under 300 at the beginning of the season. And then towards the end, he'll be over 300.
Over 300. So he's going to gain weight during the season. I think so too. We're going to have to look into this. I don't have the exact his exact weight, but it is something I'm going to research and get back to you folks at home, let you know, because Josh Heupel at one time was an athlete, and now he's a millionaire coach, and he's a big fat ass. There's no excuse. He needs to lose some weight, all right? Because he's the stress that he's under too. I mean, he's stroke or a heart attack.
He good.
Yeah, with that kind of weight,
He's a candidate for it.
100%. All right, you don't get that big unless he's eating a bunch of carbs, and I hope he doesn't smoke, because that would even compound the problem. All right. So, lastly, we got to get into our Aggies, Dad. You said they're lucky to win 8 games.
They won't win 8 games. If they win 8 games, that coach has done a hell of a job. If they win 8, 9, 10, they
Anything over 8 is a plus.
oh yeah. But I just don't think they will. I think they'll end up 6-6.
Maybe. It's all going to depend on how well this Wiegman. Remember the Wiegman guy? He's a Heisman dark horse.
Yeah, but I don't think he's that. He doesn't have the speed, I think, to scramble and get out. Maybe I'm wrong, but from what I've seen, you know, he's
a sitting duck. They're going to get after his ass.
I think so.
We better have a good running game. We better be able to mix it up and run the ball, because if not, exactly what you're saying, he's going to be running for his life. All right, folks, you heard it here on Jamin's Daily, coming to you from Brookdale Rehab, Trinity Towers. Here with Coach Keno Aleman, giving you our 2024 college football SEC predictions. You heard it here first. Stay tuned. Jamin's Daily, like and share. Subscribe and stay tuned. We're going to come back for the first game, week 1, just a couple of weeks away. Until the next time, stay tuned, because the best is yet to come.